Okay, so we're just going into single digit queue. Okay. This one is not as good as this one. So here, let's use our double digit queue basics first. We want to say here. And this would be really good for black. The reason is I consider this Joseki on my opponent's side of the board way too good because I'm solid, I'm efficient, and I'm on my opponent's side of the board. So usually my opponent will do something extra, which is why the AI is like, hey, this is not good because you give your opponent a lot of choices. And then we can get into patterns like this and then that. We get into that type of pattern. We could also do this one. I think, sorry, Hane first. And then jump. Maybe peep one more. And then here. And then here. And that one be okay, but white gets a lot of territory. But I think that one's okay, honestly. But the AI is like, hey, white gets too many options. So we go here instead. Now, the reason this one isn't as good is because we are really cramped right here. And we potentially lose our base. So I don't know if I like this position nearly as much as if we played this one and play this Joseki. And get like this. It looks a lot safer for black because black's practically alive. And then if white tries to go here and like this, well, now white doesn't have eye space in the corner and you're even further down. So I think this is okay. I think this Joseki is perfectly fine. It's more common in modern play. If I was to go here, I kind of want to just go attach. Play something like that. I think that would be more speedy. So basically, I think this one is probably it's good enough until 9Q. I think after 9Q, we need to get higher level Josekis. Is this really the big move? Okay, so do we have any weak groups? No. So I can weak groups. We can put bully here, but if we don't see that, then no. So where's the biggest move? So no open sides, no open corners, so largest framework, so the right side, right? So we either want to approach, invade, or something like that, right? This one feels like we're building a moyo because you're going from third line to fourth line. But there's no moyo. There's black right here and black right here. So what moyo are you building? And then you have to ask, I don't know. Yeah, and then you have to ask, if you're building a moyo right here, black's also building a moyo, whose is bigger? And black's is bigger. So why are you building instead of reducing, right? If you make your stuff and your opponent makes more stuff, then that's a bad exchange. Just make both players make nothing, and it's a better exchange. Black should definitely be here. This is still invadable and less pressure on the stone. In between moves, like the center moves, are usually not good unless it's life and death. Okay, probably can go here. Do you know this move?
No.
A and B are the responses. This is a kind of a side Joseki. So when the normal approach isn't good enough. Oh, sorry. It's not A. B and C. Like white's responses is D and E and F. Yep. So the most common is this one, this attach. You can go up and then make a base. That's the easy one. You can wedge in, and if they block, you can play like that. Make a base or make a base. If they cut, you get to play this fun sequence, and normally the stone's here. In this case, you can just double Atari. And if they go here, you can double Atari. But in this case, it's actually really good for you. So probably because that stone's too far. But yeah, this is one they can play. Black can also respond here and just let you live in the corner. That's fine as well. So it's actually quite easy for the stone to live. So I think this one is a good invasion point to learn. It's just another option. You also have this one as well. So
Okay.
This one is probably too easy for black to deal with. Knight's moves are cuttable. Just jump. Easy peasy.
Okay.
Definitely here. Definitely here. Oh my gosh, you still can't do that. That looks really good for white. And then if you go here, it's reading intensive, but it's a lot better for white. So I don't know. This one might be a lot to read. Basically, it's like I just said in the last game review, you want to think about aggressive defense. In other words, you're trying to help A, right? How can you help A normally? Like up to like double digit Q, you help A just by staying connected, run away. Something like that, right? Or that if you're not worried about the cut, which you should be. Or maybe that. You just run away with solid shit. Now, single digit Q, you're like, okay, I have the runaway moves, but can I use my opponent's Aji or cutting points or peeps or whatever to help myself more? And you have to be very careful with it, right? You can't overcommit and die because it's very dangerous if you read something wrong. So that's why you can't do aggressive defense until single digit Q. But you're about to be single digit Q, so it's time to start looking at, okay, what's the normal move? Just run away, right? Let's just run away. And let's compare that to, is there any forcing moves? So maybe you can look at something like this. Does that run away faster? And in this case, it does, right? So maybe this is better. And then if you can read even more, then maybe you can find something like that. So the further you can take your reading, the more efficient and effective your defense becomes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so that's what you got to learn at single digit Q. But at minimum, you have to improve your reading. So at minimum, you have to read 3 moves, and ideally for single digit Q, you want to be able to read at least 5 moves until you get to above 5Q, and then you got to read like 7 to 10 moves. It depends on the sequence, of course. If it has a lot of branches, then you can only read 5 moves. But if it has very little branches, then you can read like 10 to 15 moves. But that's what you want to get to. So starting out as you're going into single digit Q and you have fights like these, try to visualize 3 moves and say which one's better. Like just figure out the double digit Q move, run away without getting cut. That's double digit Q, easy. But for single digit Q, can we use any forcing moves? And then so visualize 3 moves, visualize 3 moves, visualize 3 moves, and try to counter yourself. And then find any sequence that maybe helps you better than double digit Q. If you can't, then you have to play a double digit Q move. That's fine. You just review and see if there's anything better. But the point is to practice reading and build the habit of reading your opponent's Aji to do your stuff better. Then as you improve your reading and you build that habit, then you read 5 moves. So for black, probably you want to check your weaknesses first and just build and you're winning. You're still cuttable. We played so many moves, but you're still cuttable. And I don't like how we invested so many moves, but they're still Aji. This is okay. This is good. Again, is yours bigger than black's?
No.
No. So we shouldn't be building. We should be, invading, reducing, whatever. And against the Chinese opening, this is a common move that you'll have to learn. Probably just get to 9Q and then learn this move. Okay. But this is opening research. If I was to invade while unsettling something, that way it's easier defense. And then of course, this is a very easy invasion as well. Basically, approach a 4th line stone. Approach a 4th line stone. It's easy invasion. But over here, also, why not here? What are you scared of?
It looks a little like them playing on line 6 or 7.
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the difference between here?
I'm more comfortable with that because I've encountered that before. There's less space.
It's the exact same principle though.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so you can fight. First off, you can push and cut, but that might hurt your Shimari. You can jump up and fight. The point is, this move is meant to attack something here for profit. So you're not going to just get 8 points here, because if your opponent just gives you 8 points, then your opponent gets influence for it. So what are you expecting here? Like 4 points, 6 points? So as long as when your opponent evades, you get some profit. As long as when your opponent evades, you get some sort of profit. I think it's fine. Now, the profit here would be to attack this somehow. But I don't think you see the weakness. So, like, for example, that's looking pretty decent. And then all of a sudden, hey, there's your profit. So the profit from this is if black gets a weaker peer, you're going to get strong enough to attack this group here. That's kind of the profit. Also, let's say black keeps defending. There's still like a lot of stuff right here that you can do. So I don't think it's that great for black. But if you're going to play on the left, you got to go all the way with maximum pressure. This one is too passive. And I think it's just you're going to have to learn how to fight. You can't be afraid of fighting in your area. If you're saying I want territory, you have to go here. And that's just slow. So what this says isn't that I want territory, it's I want control of this area. So instead of thinking in terms of points, you think in terms of control, then of course you want to maximize your control with more space. And the idea of control is in this area, I will make more than black. That's it. No, not crazy. You don't have to say I need 15 points right here. No, that's not it. You're just saying in this area, I will make more than black. And as long as you are confident with that, then you want to go as far as you can. Like, honestly, you could even go here if you think black is strong. Because let's say black fixes. Look at that. If you're just building the left, you're just expanding control of your left, this is a good way to do it. The only reason we don't want to do it is because black isn't perfectly strong here. So you don't like helping your opponent get strong. So you just go here. But the idea is expand as far as you can. So that way, if your opponent goes in, you can attack and make a profit. That's the whole point of framework and Moyos is you want your opponent to invade. You want to attack and make a profit. But if you're too timid, you think this is not available? What if I go here? Do you think that's territory? I can just live in the corner if you go that way. So it's still invadable. And if you go here, like, okay, you're going to kill that stone? Oops. So even though you're playing safer, you're getting less because it's still invadable. There's just different moves that you just don't know about yet. So just go ahead and expand your control and just learn how to fight. Because the stronger you get, the more invasion options that exist. So this one's a bit passive. I do like defending this group here because black is getting a little, or white is getting a little close. Honestly, I think black's a bit ahead here because you see how black's getting the big framework and you keep playing on not the biggest framework. So like here and here, you keep not playing on black's framework. I think you're scared of it in a sense. You're like, oh, that's too big. I'm scared of it. So I'm not going to do anything about it. But by not doing anything about it, it's going to get bigger and even harder to deal with. You need to deal with it before it gets bigger. No, these two moves are slow. This is Yosei. This is Yosei. Just both of them can be ignored. Just ignore it. Like go in, boom, or boom. All right, just go in. What is he going to do here? Take 5 points? I don't care. Heck, the exchange might actually be good for me. Yeah, don't respond to Yosei moves. Very, very bad. Yep, so going in, does black know Joseki? I don't think black knows Joseki's. Oh, this is just bad reading. Okay, so first off, the Joseki for black is here. Normally that cut works and you fix. But in this case, with this stone right here, maybe you can cut. So maybe I can't do 10. Maybe I have to go here. So I would read that, but that's normally Joseki, okay? Second off, okay, we don't know Joseki, so we're trying to surround our opponent. Even trying to surround our opponent, I would still end up here because take the base first, right? And then maybe unsettle and then chase, right? That's at minimum, this is what I would end up with using attack and defense basics of take the eye space and chase and surround, right? Take the eye space and surround. But if we go here and cut, it's like, okay, I'm trying to cut my opponent. And I thought maybe black was going for a squeeze, which I don't think is a good idea because white just lives too fast. But what really made me think it was a bad idea and bad reading was this move. This is not a good move. Okay, so first off, this is a third line cut. So that's our 13 by 13 basics. I drill my 20Q students on this. So what I expect, and this doesn't mean anyone's bad, it just means this is the habits you need to build, is second line cuts and third line cuts need to be mastered before single digit Q. So what that means is you're too strong to not read these through. And I tell you that because I want you to hold yourself accountable for the higher level, because if we let ourselves, we can be really lazy about it, and that will form bad habits that will get us stuck. And I know a lot of you guys might know about certain rank barriers. Well, rank barriers are formed from bad habits. So I try to use a little bit stronger language here of don't be lazy. This is bad, because if I want this to like be a mental ouch. Like I want you to think a third line cut is something I should know. So I want you to force yourself to put in the effort to read cutting points more often, because it needs to hurt when you mess up something below your level, because that hurt will build better habits in the future. So I really want you guys to look through these third line cuts before you do them and have a plan. So the reason I don't like it is because this move actually stops the forcing move, the squeeze here. So you lose a lot of points for it. I also don't like this result because I think white lives too fast. But here, this is something I think we're very capable of reading at 9Q. And I'm assuming you didn't read it, so you might have had another plan. I don't know. But if this is the case, this should be readable by 9Q. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it, right? And I have a lot of my students that say, oh, I played a bad game. Or, oh, I did something stupid. Well, what does that mean? It means I played something below my level that I should have seen, but I didn't. Now, if you've ever said that, oh, I just played something stupid. Oh, I did something dumb. And if that happened, if you say that to yourself a lot, then that in and of itself could be a bad habit that you have. It's a bad habit of either playing too fast. Maybe you're not looking before you cut. Maybe you're just not checking the cuts. And if you build the habit of looking at the cuts, it should be something that you can read. Like if you're saying the excuse after the game that, oh, that was a stupid mistake. Well, if it's quote unquote stupid, it means you think that that's below your level and you have the skill to read it. Then what matters isn't the skill, but your application of that skill or lack thereof. So we need our habits here to make sure that we get the good result. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So here, I'm not sure what black's after. In my mind, I think black just made a big blunder. Basically a habit blunder, playing too fast, not reading the cut before cutting. So like here, it looks like the cut works. But if we read 3 moves, because remember single digit Q, 3 moves, 1, 2, 3, I guess we have to read 4. So 4 moves. And this should be a shape that we know. By single digit Q, I think we can picture this. And if not, then play some 13 by 13. I tell beginners 109 by 9, 113 by 13, 519 by 19. Then you have enough experience to say, hey, I actually know what's happening and go. Right. Get your first 100 losses as fast as possible, right? So here I would say if you don't know third line cutting points, go play 113 by 13. Just put in the work. Go is work. So I really think that black is making a big blunder here, because black was actually in a good position. Because if you look right here, black's position is so much bigger. White played too passively and get to the big area. Well, now white's in the big area and black had the big area, but black's actually helping white make more ice space. So I think this is a good thing to learn from. We really want to think about where's our brain at when these things are happening. And if we can do that, we can build some very, very good habits that will help us long term. Here, I think all of these moves are just hurting black's other side. I think at this point, just give it up and start fixing stuff. So maybe just here and maybe here, just start fixing stuff. Then maybe recount or something. I don't know. I'd have to count and see what I can do. Basically, when you realize you make a mistake, just stop and reevaluate the board. Defense, then offense, then big move. Right. But I feel like all of these moves are just hurting this bottom side. So this is black's area, but I feel like white's the attacker here. So I think this is a big blunder by black.